Hello. Oh, right. I love this film so much. So when I found out I was going to be doing the Q&A, I was quite terrified because I love it so much. And then I have a response to, like, when choirs sing, I just start crying straight away. So apologies if that happens. So what we're going to do in terms of asking the questions in the Q&A, there is a little thing up there. It's slido.com, and then there's a hashtag and a number. You just put that in and you can send us a question. And then we're going to be welcoming onto the screen. Oh, I think they're here. Dylan Williams, the filmmaker, and Ed from the film, from the Trellanwood Choir. Sorry if I pronounced that badly. Hello, can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you.
Hello, I'm Laura, the community programme producer at DocFest. I'm really delighted to have you here with us. So this is Dylan on our left-hand side, and then Ed. Can you hear us, Ed? No, not properly. I'll try and speak a bit louder. Right, I'm just going to pop this down for a minute. So basically what's going to happen is I've got an iPad here, and people are going to send us questions through that iPad, and then I'll read them out. Oh. But firstly, I've got a couple of questions. So welcome to Sheffield DocFest. A bit of background on me. I sing in a community choir in Sheffield, and I just love the film, and I was incredibly moved by it. So much of our lives has changed over the last few years since you've made the film. So I was wondering if there was anything before we started asking you questions that you wanted to tell us before we start, so you can get. I'm not sure if they can hear us.
Hello, Dad.
Yes.
You can? Okay, good.
Well, I would just say that the good news is that it seems that the choir is going to start rehearsing again.
Great.
Yeah. There's talk of July the 5th.
July the 5th?
We have to do it in parts.
So
It'll be half the choir at, say, 7 o'clock. The other half later on. There are too many people to have you together in one place.
Yep.
There's a limit on how many you can have.
So will you be back in the room?
It's all in the air at the moment, so to speak.
No. So will you be outdoors, do you think, when you'll be coming back to practice together? Or will you be back in the room that you were in?
The chairman told me that they're actually going to be in a barn to begin with.
In a barn?
Yes.
Oh wow.
Well, there was talk of having it in the open air, but I think the latest idea is that we'll be in the village hall normally, but spaced away from each other.
Yeah. Oh, that's really exciting.
Half a choir later on.
They've been trying to have Zoom practices throughout the pandemic.
Yes. I've been speaking to them on Zoom every other Tuesday, and sometimes the lady conductor comes along, and we do some breathing exercises and things. Sometimes it's only committee people. We have quizzes, and we have a spell of lewd jokes that can't be broadcast. Just chatting, really.
Do you want to give us an insight into any of the jokes? No, maybe not. Okay. Okay. The other question I wanted to ask was so the film is a bit of a story of two parts of the family and the relationship that you have, and then the relationship that you have in the family of your choir. And I wondered, in terms of telling the story and how you were, when you first approached making the film, what came first? Was it the story of your family, or was it originally about the choir?
Well, basically, it was my brother sent me a text message, and he said, "Don't get worried, but Dad's going to phone you," and because Dad is not a great man for phoning, so. I don't know, he didn't say why, he just said, "Don't worry, but he's going to call you, so don't get worried when he calls." so I mean, I've had similar experiences before. So I just pressed the record on the record button, and he called me and told me that he was basically going to sell the house. And not only had he sold the house, he'd got a container in, and it was half full. And this is a man who, excuse me, Dad, but you're not a man who likes change.
It's very swift.
And
work.
suddenly I realized that the things that, you know, you somehow take for granted in life were changing quite quickly. And that gave me basically a very deep motivation to just want to go back. And when I was back there, and as I said, it's basically as it was in the choir in the film, I just went back into this hall of this, what I always thought was quite a dusty hall with old men, and suddenly I just found myself being very moved by it.
Yeah.
And I got the opportunity, you know, with this wonderful job that we have, that maybe I could use that to spend some time with the old man, and it worked out perfectly. It was a fantastic experience and it was a mostly very personal and selfish reasoning for wanting to make it, which is just to spend this very important time together.
Oh, it's such a beautiful film. It's so moving as well. I watched it in January, I think, in the depths of lockdown, and I just bawled the whole way through, but it was just so beautiful. I'm just going to get my iPad up and see if we've got any questions from the audience. Oh, yes, we do, loads. Okay. Okay, so the first question is, did you have to prompt certain elements of the story, the recruitment drive and the competition in particular, to shape a narrative arc in the film?
No, the idea for the recruitment came from, I mean, I just happened to go to the committee meeting, but yes, with regards to prompting, it needed a little bit of help because they've been talking about a recruitment drive for about 5 years.
Right.
And there wasn't that much going on. They would usually have another committee meeting to talk about the first committee meeting, and often a subcommittee meeting to talk about the second subcommittee meeting. And then they'd throw out lots of different ideas, and then somebody in the choir said, why wasn't I invited to the meeting? And therefore there'd be another meeting. So it was there was need for some help. Okay, let's what should we do? And you know, they came up with all the ideas of what they could possibly do. But yeah, I did push it along a little bit. Yeah.
The posters are amazing that they made.
That's nothing to do with me. No.
Okay. Okay. Next question. After winning the competition, did you get any new members, and what's next for the choir? So you said a bit about getting back together in July, but did you get any new members after the profile's been raised a bit?
Just new members now. New members.
Still in need of new members.
After winning.
Because the average age of the choir is very high.
Yeah.
I'm the senior member at the moment, but there are a very large number over 80. So there isn't a lot of future, is there? There's more past than future. A good company and everything like that. But the problem is that younger men don't want to mix with older men, do they? Always. You see?
After winning the competition, did you get new members?
We had, when we won the competition in Belfast, we had 3 or 4 new members, yes.
Oh, great.
A couple of them fell off fairly soon. For what reason, I don't know. We've got 2 regulars who stayed. So it hasn't really worked as a procedure of getting new members. I don't know what the answer is, really.
Maybe when more people see this film, they'll be running to join, so they can see the special bond you have when you're all together.
Oh, yes. It's a way of life, isn't it? I've been in there 60 years out of my 90 in the choir, and it's important part of my life, really. I made good friends. We had lots of fun. We've travelled. I've been to Canada twice. We've been to Germany, France, you name it. We've been with the choir, and always full of laughter and jokes and leg pulling. And what a golf club is to an Englishman, the choir is to a Welshman, you see. Really. It's not the golf, it's the talking about the golf, isn't it? So really, I've missed the last, it's over a year since we've sung together. A year last March was our last rehearsal. Wow. We had a concert in the local town. So it's well over 12 months. And the only link has been the Zoom every fortnight.
Yeah.
And even that, only some of the really loyal ones were appearing on it. There are people I know in the choir, and I've known nothing about them for over a year. So there's going to be a lot of warming up needed to restart if we do. I hope it does.
You've got
because it's a wonderful way of life. And if, if you're feeling miserable, you go there and sing for an hour, and you come back, and everything's changed.
That's exactly how I feel in my choir.
Yeah, it's a good therapy.
And just to say that's why we're going to do a tour together with a wonderful Dartmouth Films. We're doing a tour of cinemas, and the choir will be performing with us, and hopefully we'll bring a lot more publicity in the area, as well as sort of, I think, making some kind of short films and stuff. Because I think there's a bigger message there, which is why community is so extremely important. I mean, for all of us. Yeah. But especially at a certain age, I think it's something that prolongs and gives meaning in many ways, and something to really look forward to.
Absolutely, and that's why we're so delighted to have this as part of the community program, because it just like exudes what community is, and the sort of the strength and the support that you have when you're like bolstered up by people that you're doing something like singing with.
Well, to me, whenever my dad used to go to the choir, it used to be, oh, he's going to that bloody choir. And sometimes you'd have to sit in a really cold church hall, listening to them going on. And it's only really when you go there and you realize that, Dad always has this classic story that, you could have a criminal on one side and a policeman on the other. And for Dad, it was whether he was a tenor or a bass but that whole idea that, really having a completely good idea of the community in which he connected to. And that's something that I sort of longed for a little bit, because like 95% of everyone who went to school with me, they left the area, and you move on, you go to different areas, but you don't get that same grounding that you really know everybody around you. And Dad really, there was never a problem with finding the plumber or the carpenter or anybody we needed, because they were all in his choir, so.
Even the policeman. There were even police. And burglars, for all I know.
You have to be careful
what you're doing. It doesn't matter what you are, it's what voice you sing. That's all that counts. I'd have a farmer on one side of it, and of course you can't talk about teaching, can you? See, one of the diseases of being a schoolmaster is that you talk about education all the time. Well, the fellow who's come there smelling of sheep, he's not interested in what you're going to talk about. So the one thing that binds you is your love of harmony.
Yep.
And getting the four voices to blend. And it's a thrill, it's incredible. I can't express it in words.
Yeah. You
get a good chord, you get the great amen at the end of a hymn, and it crackles through your whole being. Nobody who's ever sang in a choir will know about it. It's very exciting.
Yeah. It's that moment before you're going on for the competition as well.
Yeah.
You're all terrified, but then you're all going to carry each other together in the performance.
Yeah, that was wonderful, being in Northern Ireland and seeing a bunch of 8-year-olds really nervous. That was great. Isn't it great to have that,
I had an extra strong mint before I came onto the stage to do this. I'll see if we've got any other questions. Okay, we do. How was the experience of working so close to your dad? When did you know when to switch from filmmaker to son, and vice versa?
Well, I think it was all sort of blended in, really, in a way. I mean, fortunately, I know him so well, I can kind of do a lot of that background research. That's sort of how I knew basically what and when I could possibly film. I knew when he was going to write his Christmas cards. I knew what that usually brings out of him.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit about knowing, and for me, it was actually getting to know a lot of the other guys in the choir. That was a very touching experience, especially getting to know Merv.
Yeah.
And it was a very difficult period for him and actually for everyone in the choir. And if I could just share this last story, that when I'd finally managed to cut the film together, I went over to meet the choir, and I drove through a terrible rainstorm and came to the choir locale, and just about got there 5 minutes after they'd begun, straight from the airport. And Anne stood up and said that Merv had just passed away, and everybody stood in silence. And then she asked me to actually sit in his place, and we sang his favorite song. And that was an incredible experience. An experience how they share, you know, they're sort of quite, you know, men of a certain age, but actually they get beyond the point where it's all about ego and things like that. They're just very, very soft with one another. They often talk in between songs, and, oh, how's it going with his son and this, and we're thinking of this guy or his mother or his wife or his sister. And it was just very, very giving to be able to see how they could talk and be unpretentiously caring for one another. Yeah,
I think for me that's why the film is so special, is like the huge amount of love that just sort of like pours out of the screen when you're watching it, like all different kinds of love. It's just beautiful. Right, hang on, I've got more. Have we got time for more? Let's go for some more. Okay. It's wonderful to see the Welsh language on the big screen in Sheffield. Diolch, Dylan. Do you have a deeper connection with your hometown since making the film? Sorry.
Yes, very, very much so. Maybe, you know, having moved away from the area, you know, at 18 and never really gone back to live there. And then I think when Dad said he was moving out of his house, suddenly the first thought I was having was, well, that's my home. And, you know, he's moving to a smaller house and thinking, where am I supposed to take my family? And that, you know, should I stay in a hotel? You know, those questions are arising, this sort of feeling of, and it's such a wonderful experience. I'm longing to go back to Wales all the time. Yeah. So I'm trying to get other projects going there just to be able to go back as much as possible.
So you're in Sweden
now? That's great.
Oh,
that's made up. Do come around. As soon as you can, get ready. Yeah. Welcome anytime. I'm the family. We'll put you somewhere.
Thanks, Dad.
Bye.
Okay, we've got another question from another Welsh person, Jim, from North Wales, D-side, currently residing in Sheffield. He says, it reminds me of home, thank you. Oh, it's just a comment, I think, not a question. Finding out that the singer of Angel Witch lives in Baghilt has made my year.
I couldn't believe that he was, and his backstory, he suddenly joined the choir. It was a fantastic moment.
Cool. Are we
a young man, a young member at 66. The future.
Oh. Okay, this is a question for Ed. Was it strange having your son film you? And did you feel like you could be yourself on camera?
Yeah, it was a very peculiar sensation. It's not often that your youngest son gets a chance to tell you what to do and when to do it, when to speak and when to shut up. It's a strange experience, I can tell you. But at the same time, I'd been wondering along. I knew he was getting on well in his business, and I was wondering why. But when I'd seen him at work and handling the men and taking the cameras round, I was admiring his skills then. And I saw another side of my son that I hadn't seen before. And it was a very, very curious feeling, all mixed up with moving house and a little bit of tragedy. I've been living a long time in the same village, and there I was carrying furniture with a man with a camera behind me wherever I went. And then another man telling another man being Dylan, don't do it there, do it over there. Smile now, Dad. You know, breathe now, Dad. It's a very curious sensation. But I believe the results will be worthwhile, really. Well worth the effort.
Yeah, it definitely is. Okay, I think we've got one more, which is a practical question. How did you go about financing the film?
Dad? No.
Good question.
No. Well, actually, there was a bit where my sister Delith, who's with my dad there, she actually had an iPad, and for some reason my dad had his headphones on and was listening to the choir on it, and I'd never seen it, and he was singing, you know, in the kitchen, blaring out. And I just thought it was so funny. So I actually went and filmed with a number of the guys and cut, you know, the last bit.
Yeah.
I actually just filmed that together. And I went to a pitching forum because I live in Sweden. Yeah. So I went to the Nordisk Panorama, which is a pitching forum, and it was accepted there. And I got some funding from Sweden and Scandinavia, and then Film Cymru Wales and S4C. Yeah. S4C International became partners, and throw in the BritDoc BFI, and we were home and we could make the film. So I would like to thank all those partners for allowing us to make this film, and for me to have spent this great time with Dad and Trelawnyd Male Voice Choir. It's been wonderful. Well,
and thank you. I was going to see if I've got anything else that I wanted to go through. I think basically you've answered all the questions that I'd written down. And I don't think we have any more. Oh, that was what I was going to ask. Are there any more competitions in the pipeline after your tour that we can come and see you in real life?
Any more competitions?
Not officially in view at the moment, no. But they're all on hold at the moment, because the sort of meeting you go to in Welsh, they're done online and using the modern technology, but you can't put a choir of 80 through those paces. No. So there's a big problem, but I'm sure there will be. Yeah. But there are special competitions for pensioners, so I can see us competing in pensioners' choirs contests. That's the kind of thing, because the sound of the choir is bound to change with the age of the singers, isn't it?
Of course.
We're not the choir we were 50 years ago. Or when I joined in 1957, there were quite different kind of people there. Yeah. And the age was much younger at that time.
But
so I don't think there'll be a lot of competing.
Hopefully, I've spoken with the committee and with Anne and everything. And when the film does go out and the local areas, and we will be doing hopefully a special sort of outreach, trying to really push for the choir to try and get some new members. And that would be, I would say, obviously I talked about my own personal motivation, but after getting involved, this is a choir that's been going for 90 years now, and I would love for it to continue. So I'm going to try and put as much energy to try and help them bring members in and try to show that how wonderful being in this can be. So that's a big goal for this autumn and pushing forward. Yeah.
Well, we'll all help spread the word.
Thank you.
And do let us know about the tour when it's happening as well. That would be wonderful. It's been such an honour to speak to you and to meet you. Thanks for speaking with us. It's been so special. And thank you so much from everyone in Sheffield. Thank you. Take care of yourselves.
Thank you. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you so much, everyone. If you do want to come along to the workshop inspired by the film on Tuesday at 7 o'clock on Zoom, It's called We Are Family, the Special Bond of Singing, and we'd love to see you there. You can just find it on our website and register there, and it's all free. And do remember, if you'd like to vote in the Audience Awards, you can do that on the internet as well. And grab a programme on the way out if you don't have one, and everything else is online. Thank you so much for coming. Thank you.